Hey everyone, Nerd Name Mark here, and it's time to review episode 20 of Kamen Rider Gavv. What a TOS. What a pleasantly surprising, amazing episode. But damn, that episode was fucking great. We got a lot in this episode. Uh and it felt like even like thinking back on it, I just had to watch it a second time because I'm recording this the same day it's gonna go live because I've been busy. Um there's so much to like unpack in this episode. We got a lot of plot points moving forward. A big one at the end where we finally get the reveal of who Shoma is, and Hanto now finds out, as well as Lage 9, and we find out Lage 9's name is Lakia, so he has a name. Um, but the main uh gist of this episode is once again Takeshi, the missing boy, from almost 3 episodes now, almost, is still missing. And so Shoma decides, well, I'm gonna go find Lage 9 and we're gonna figure this out. And he doesn't have any people kidnapped, so it must already be at the processing plant. And they devise a heist to go in and steal all the pressed humans. And one of the more like Lage 9, like what turned him to the good side type of ordeal, even though he's technically was on the good side, but what made him want to team up with Shoma is Shoma took him and showed him the family that were looking for people that were taken. And it coincided with flashbacks of him also trying to find his younger brother when he was missing. So, and we had Lage 9 crying about it. And, it was one of those like deep moments where it's like, okay, now we got that catalyst to bring him to be on Shoma's side. And in the interim of that, Nelv decided to bestow upon him a new gimmick, which is the jelly custom. The jelly custom cup. One of the cool things I liked about this episode, which was kind of funny, was Hanto finally woke up, and Suga was like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "How'd I get here?" And he said, "Oh yeah, your friend, the red Gabu brought you over here. Kamen Gavu brought you over here." And he's like, "Shoma." He's like, "Oh, so that's his name?" And he's like, "You know anything weird to him, did you?" And we get these flashes of computer screens with DNA strands and this and that, because obviously last episode he took one of Shoma's hair. So obviously with the preview, because I did see the preview, and we are getting Bitter Gabu, and I'm not going to go into that all because it wasn't in this episode technically. I will go into that with episode 21. But yeah, he definitely did something. He's definitely shady. I like how we're getting this whole, like, look at all these scientists doing stuff. We have Nelv doing stuff. We have Suga doing stuff. Dente, I don't know. He's chilling. He's eating snacks and in a cave hiding. But he's here. And I think it was really cool from the standpoint of both Lakia and Shoma didn't know how to technically get back to the stomach in Granite World. So they followed one of the agents, and then they went to, like, they have moving doorways. So this one was in a bathroom, and they couldn't figure out how to do it. And then Shoma reached out his hand, and the symbol appeared, which kind of first you see, Lakia's face, and it's like, And then there's another foreshadowing leading up to the end of the episode when they're running around, and Shoma's like, "Oh yeah, no, it's downstairs this way," and he knew the code to get in, and he's even like, "Oh, you kind of act like you own the place." He's like, "Oh really? Like I do." There was one thing though, which was very brief, maybe 10 seconds total. When an agent was about to come around the corner, Lakia grabbed Shoma's arm to kind of pull him away to hide, and Shoma, whose memory has been very, hazy to an extent, had a flashback of what I'm assuming is, well, not assuming, it was confirmed, Hanto's mom grabbing his arm and said something about along the lines of, we'll find her together, or we'll look for her together, something like that, of that nature, or let's find her together. And I was like, okay, so Shoma interacted. Oh, my camera just kind of flipped out a bit. Has interacted with Hanto's mom, so that's going to lead to more good story down the road. And the main bread and butter of this episode was the fight between Grota and Vram and Gavv. I was curious because I was like, okay, we're gonna finally see her Granite form. It's intriguing. So in her human form, she beat the brakes off of Valen back, in his second episode as Valen, and in this one, she really held her own and was overpowering Vram even, which led to him using his new form to take out her agents. By the way, that form, I like it. It's really good. I like the trade off of, because even when Nelv gave it to him, he's like, yeah, use it if you want. He's like, oh, you almost destroyed them. Like, I guess you don't need this. He's like, it's your choice if you want to. Um, but I like the jelly form from the standpoint of he can go invisible. But the side effects are when he does the form, you see these tendrils wrap around his heart, and whenever he was like going invisible and fighting stuff, like it was tightening, and he was having chest pains and kind of stopping. So I do like the idea that there are forms that have a trade-off to using their power, kind of like with Shoma in his caking form. It makes him hungrier and he gets tired after because he uses a lot of energy. Whereas now with this jelly form for Vram, he, basically chest pains, tightening on his heart. But I thought it was really cool seeing him go invisible, taking out the agents, coming out of the wall and attacking. And then they even did a first person POV, which had kind of like a pink tinge filter to it. I thought all that was really cool. Like the action in the show has been so consistently good. I don't think there's been any bad fight scenes 20 episodes in. Like I really think it's been consistent. Consistency is key. This has been a very consistently good to great show. There has not been, even when there's lull, like there's still good story stuff there and character stuff there. So it's like I'm really digging 20 episodes in because realistically, where I don't want to say a third of the way in because that means 60 episodes. We're like 40% through the show. I mean, if it's going to be like, 50 episodes or 48, we're vastly approaching the halfway point, and there hasn't been that lull or dip yet, which I'm pleasantly surprised about, and I'm not complaining at all, honestly. This is probably, if it goes with the pacing and how it's going right now, this will probably end up being like my favorite Reiwa era show. This may even make, my top 10 of all my favorite shows out of all Kamen Rider. So, the funny thing while they're fighting is Shoma is basically getting like he's nothing compared to Grota in power scaling wise, and it led to him, using his caking form, and I enjoyed, and it was subtle how his whip soldier had the spear and he had the briefcases because Shoma took like 4 briefcases. Like they basically cleaned out the whole warehouse of all the pressed humans, and we got Grota's granite form, which is basically an octopus, and I was like, or a squid, and I was like, okay, not a bad form for granite. I'm not gonna say what a lot of people think I'm gonna say, especially if you frequent the Toku Tonic Shift stream on Zio Agito's YouTube channel on Friday nights, where we talk about all the Toku stuff. But wood, 100% wood, human form, granite form, wood. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Just gotta. Hey, I'm a man of culture. What can I say? But that's the point. But the fighting, and just from a power, because like I was wondering the siblings, because let's face it, Shoma, if he wanted to, if Jeeb wasn't pushed out of the way, he would have took out both the twins with his finishing attack. Even here with Vram and Gavv in his caking form, Glorota's holding her own, and the catalyst at the end of the episode was Hanto was reading social media. He saw a photo of them all fighting, and he's like, "What's Shoma doing it? Fighting them by himself, not knowing that Vram is on their side now." So he's running over, and he sees them, and before he can, and he's about to hench him, but then he sees that they're working together. So he stops and just observes. He's like, "What? Like, what is?" He's like, "What's going on over here?" So he sits back and watches. We got probably one of the crazy, like for me personally, what I feel one of the craziest action scenes was Shoma was doing his caking finish, He had all the candles going down in a row leading right up to Grota. He goes for that finishing kick, and she blocks it and holds him off with her scythe and launches him back. Her scythe breaks, and she is pleasantly surprised. So she goes back to her human form, and Shima Flower says, like, oh, wow, that's not bad. It's surprising, pretty strong. And then, surprising for the runt of the family. And this leads to her going away. And then, even Lucky is like, wait, you're a stomach? And, they dehench it. And then Hanto's like, what the hell? He's standing there watching because he overheard the whole thing. And he's like, you're a Granute? He's like, tell me. And he's like, he didn't answer. And he runs over, grabs him, and punches him. And I was like, damn. I kind of like that reveal because, like, I feel like if Shoma had, like, pulled Hanto aside and had a talk about it and admitted he's a Granute, that would have not been as impactful as this way, because now we're going to get Hanto also feeling betrayed and everything else, and you could see the anger. Even Lucky was kind of like, not angry, but he was just kind of like, I feel like he knew, he had a sense, because the way he was able to open up the portal door, the way he knew the code and the layout and where everything was inside of the factory. So I feel like Lucky is not as shocked, but the Hanto one, especially with everything, especially, them both bonding over their mothers basically being taken or killed by the Granutes, everything else. So I'm very much looking forward to the confrontation next episode. And given how it kind of ended, like cliffhanger style, I hope it begins with them. Like, obviously we know Bitter Gavv is basically debuting next episode, but I'm like, I really hope, like, the reveal was so good. Now I'm hoping they capitalize and they continue that momentum with how Shoma and Hanto like whatever this next conversation is gonna be, and especially with what Bitter Gavv is. But I'm kind of not too concerned. And also now we have Lucky on their side, so now it's like also Hanto having to deal with that and how that's gonna work out. So there's so much going on now that I'm just like, damn, like, okay, I need more. I wish the episodes were longer now, but luckily at the time of recording this, it is still beginning of the week, so we got a couple more days. I'm hoping, I know it's going to be a good episode, but man, this is one of the ones where, like, I'm going to be refreshing, waiting for the English subs to drop on Saturday night so I can just watch it instantly. You may see one of those situations where I have the review up Sunday morning, most likely Monday. But I'm really looking forward to the next episode. It's one of those things, and that's how these episodes have been. It's like once they're done, I'm like, oh, that was so good. We got some more story, got some more answers, moving all these different little stories and all the characters forward, and then giving us a little reveals here and there, and then adding more and like making you want to watch the next episode. It's been a breath of fresh air. But I've really enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. What do you think of Vram's new form and everything else like that? I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget the subscribe button and like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.